What will it take, good question, what will it take to inspire America to get on board with this program, given the potential challenges?
Let me try real quick and then everybody else. The American public should be inspired. You need to look at our performance in the classroom and realize where we stand in the world in terms of education, particularly science and engineering and reading. If we're not inspired to do things to make our kids want to become engineers and scientists because we're near the bottom in the world, if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what can. I hope that I will have some midshipmen here in all 4 classes who will want to follow in our footsteps. Yeah, go into aviation, but you don't have to. You don't have to be an aviator to be an astronaut today. We just finished qualifying the very first group of exploration astronaut candidates Friday. They were certified. All of them came in knowing they were never going to space on a space shuttle, that they were being hired to operate on the International Space Station and prepare us to go beyond. They knew they were coming in to do what I dreamed about doing, you know, going to the moon and going other places. And so they are now certified astronauts. They're no longer astronaut candidates. I want young men and women in America and around the world to look at them now and say, I want to be like them. They took a big risk because, you know, there was no exploration program when we selected them. We were dismantling the Constellation program. America's future in human space flight was in disarray. We didn't have a clue what we were going to do. But in the 2010 Congress, they passed an Appropriations Act, an Authorization Act that said, here's where we want to go. We really do want to, we have to stay in space. And we want to use commercial entities to get to low Earth orbit. We want NASA to go back and get us back to the moon, onto asteroids, onto Mars. And they agree with that with the president. And that's where the nation's heading. So I am trying to tell that story as best I can because I never dreamed of going to space. Never. Until I met Ramin there, you know, who said, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. You know, that you would not think about that. I want you all to go out and tell young men and women, we have got to go. America has to remain in the leadership. And in order to do that, you know, we've got to be willing to pay the price tag. It's going to be expensive, yes, but it's far cheaper than not doing it and struggling to follow along with somebody else or hitch a ride.
Well, just a comment that for the last 50 years, the space program has really been a positive program that has inspired young people throughout those last 50 years. And even today, the people who raise their hand about still wanting to get in the space program. And so this was always a positive program. The spirit of education was really one of the important fallouts from our space program. That and, of course, the closeness of other countries. The International Space Station was the final result of that. We're all working together now. And so I think that I'm glad that Charlie made that mentioned the continuation to go on past low Earth orbit, because there's really only one destination, and that's the International Space Station. And the Russians have pretty much a lock on that right now. So.
I think that you asked a great question and perhaps a very profound question. I think we're in a very interesting period right now. As General Bolden alluded to, we are divided. But if you look at the history of the space program, I think history very clearly shows what we can do when we are united. What will it take to get us united again? I have to agree with Charlie. It's time to root for the Chinese, because it just may be that we need a swift kick in the pants to realize that if you want to maintain your position of prominence in the world, you know, it's like being a world-class athlete. You got to train, you got to practice, and you got to work hard. We have to continue to work hard, to focus on technology development, and the space program is a logical place to do that. So it very may be that when China starts routinely putting their taikonauts up on Motor Space Station, and they acquire the experience necessary to go to the moon, that will be the thing that focuses us again to recommit to the technology development that we have done in the space program and have the ability to continue to do and do well.
Captain Wendy Lawrence, Major General Charlie Bolden, and Captain Jim Lovell.